Hey y'all, hey drumheads, Little Drummer Boy here, and today I want to do a book review. This is the Beach Boys America's Band by Johnny Morgan, and he is an author from England, and it's a very, very, very good book. I have to give it 5 stars. I'm a avid Beach Boys fan. My dad was into them and used to play them on the radio in the station wagon in the '70s when they had their resurgence, when their greatest hits album, "Endless Summer," went number one. And my brother bought Fun 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 Shutdown Volume 2 on 8 track when I was about 10, and I was hooked from there on out. And excuse me. So anyway, this is a great book by the beach by about the Beach Boys by Johnny Morgan. It's very comprehensive, and it's very interesting. There are a few things that I didn't like about it, or a few things that I've been an average Beach Boys fan. I could nearly write my own book about them. There's a few things that I found that weren't correct, but it was just minor stuff. Like he said, the Beach Boys, their song "In My Car" was used for a Chrysler ad to sell Corvettes. Now, what's wrong with that picture? Anybody knows that Chrysler never made a Corvette. Chevrolet did. And he's one of these people that there's so many Beach Boys fans that think the drugged out, psychedelic, mellow, introspective Beach Boys stuff of the late '60s and early '70s was the best. But and so he doesn't like Still Cruising. He doesn't like the Beach Boys 1992 album in Summer in Paradise, which is my second favorite Beach Boys album of all, and my third favorite album of all time. My favorite album of all time is the Beach Boys Shutdown Volume 2, which I was just telling you about. It's the one my brother had on 8 track that got me hooked on the Beach Boys. And then it would be Eagles Hotel California. Then it would be the Beach Boys 1992 album. It was modern Beach Boys, and it was the same Fun in the Sun, girls, cars, the beach. When Brian Wilson started getting on drugs and started getting psychedelic with the music, his cousin and lead singer, there's Brian, his cousin and lead singer, Mike Love, would tell him, don't F with the formula. Don't F with the formula. The formula was girls, cars, and the beach. And that's what made the Beach Boys. And the proof is in the sales. Almost all their hits were from the Fun in the Sun stuff, not the psychedelic stuff. And a lot of people don't realize that the Beach Boys invented psychedelic acid rock too, with the Pet Sounds album of 1966. It was like the first experimental album where Brian, went way out there. The stuff was really beautiful, but it was mellow. And anyway, here's Dick Dale. That was one of their big influences. You could say he actually invented surf rock with his surf guitar. And it's just, and you see, there's all these great photos in this book. It's a really good book. But anyway, I disagree with him on some albums. He obviously likes the more psychedelic, more mellow Beach Boys stuff, and I like the more pure. With the Beatles and the Beach Boys, I like the music before the drugs got involved the best. There's Dick Dale and the Deltones again. But anyway, there's Dennis Wilson. He was the real Beach Boy, the only one that surfed. He came up with the idea to do a song about surfing. And he was the Beach Boy that lived the music. He liked girls. He liked to surf. He liked to race. He was everything the Beach Boys sang about. The rest of them were, well, I'm not saying they didn't like the beach, and most of them all have homes there and stuff. But Dennis, he was the real Beach Boy without a doubt. The rest of them would have been great musicians in any band, but Dennis was the one that lived the music. Here they are from Surfing Safari album with the 1932 Ford Depot Hack Woody Wagon. And as you see, it's just, and look at these posters, concert posters and all kinds of stuff. It's a really cool book. Here is the Little Deuce Coupe that was on the cover of the car, a customized 32 Ford. But you can just see it's got album reviews for every album. I wish I could turn faster. It's hard to do it because I only got one hand here. That's a cool pic. But yeah, here they are on their little Hondas. You know, they sang Little Honda, and there was a Honda motorcycle craze started in the early 60s. There's Brian and his wife, Marilyn, the mother of Carney and Wendy Wilson, who were in Wilson Phillips. And here is Shutdown Volume 2, my favorite album. And as you see, this is just an iconic Beach Boy picture here. That's Dennis by the door with his Stingray Corvette, which he used to race under a fake name on the weekends when he was home. There's Brian, Al, Dennis, Carl, and Mike. That looks like the corner of a GTO there too, maybe. But this is a must-have for any Beach Boys fan. Steve Biederman, you will love this book. You really need to get it. Yeah, it's just... This is from Girls on the Beach, the first movie that the Beach Boys were in. 1965. Here they are posing with a dragster in England, I think, of all places. Brian didn't like that they got pigeonholed, you know, as just a surf and drag band. And he wanted to do a lot of things, you know, and he did. He progressed a lot. And of course, it tells in here about Dennis Wilson's association with Brian, with the Charles Manson family. They lived with him for a while. And there's Brian eating his words. And and actually the Beach Boys, you know, they recorded Manson's song Cease to Exist, Never Learn Not to, and they changed it to Never Learn Not to Love, which is really what set him over the top. And Terry Melcher, their producer, the son of Doris Day, had lived at the Tate house a few weeks before the murders. And here they are with Lil Phil Spector. He was another mad genius, Phil Spector, and Brian Wilson. You can hear it was Brian looking down on Phil, and they were like two mad musical geniuses, you know, and it was like a competition. Brian really looked up to Phil Spector, but at the same time, he wanted to beat him. Same way with the Beatles, you know, the Beach Boys were like best friends and mutual fans with the Beatles. They were like each other's biggest fans, but they also had like a friendly competition going between the two. And, you know, it's thought that if Brian if the drugs hadn't affected Brian so bad, like the acid and stuff, that there's no telling what would happen between the Beach Boys and Beatles rivalry, because they were like neck and neck. These ladies are so fine. I'm sure they're grandmothers now, but they still look good in color pictures. All right. And you see, it's an awesome book, very in-depth. And I found a lot of the same stories that were in Steve Gaines' Heroes and Villains book about the Beach Boys. There's Van Dyke Parks, who wrote a lot of the lyrics during the psychedelic stuff. But yeah, a lot of the stuff that is, you know, some of the stuff that's told that people question whether it was true or not in Steve Gaines' book, Heroes and Villains, a lot of it is retold in here, which makes me think it's probably true if it's been, you know, there's Brian body surfing. If it's been told in two Beach Boys books, then it's probably true. But I give this book, you know, here's the Many Moods of Murray Wilson. Their dad did an album. And here, this is a cool picture. Here we have, this is sad because this is when John Lennon took them to India to meet the Maharishi. So you see all kinds of famous faces here. There's John Lennon, Mike Love, the Guru Maharishi, George Harrison, and Mia Farrow, all kinds of people like that. But I'm not crazy about the New Age connections. There's Charles Manson, you see. Yeah, again, Dennis was driving his Ferrari, picked up some girls and took them home. They wound up being Manson girls. Next thing you know, the Manson family had moved into his house. And he was all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll then. So, excuse me. He was all for it till they mooched about $100,000 off of him. Were driving his Rolls Royce around. And, you know, some accounts say he came home and caught him like doing a seance in his living room, and that was enough for Denny. And there's a poster where they played Paul Revere with Paul Revere and the Raiders. Let's move along. Sunflower. This is a great album. It wasn't highly acclaimed. And the Dennis Wilson song on here, Forever, I think personally that John Lennon, that's where he got his idea for Sunshine on My Shoulders a few years later, because it's very reminiscent of Dennis's song Forever. And his song Forever was as good as anything Elton John did. But Black Sabbath's piano ballad Changes, that Ozzy sang so beautifully, it was also as good as anything that Elton John did, and it wasn't a hit either. So yeah, sometimes you just wonder why some songs are hits and other great songs are not. There's a cool picture of them from the 70s. This is about the time when this is how they looked when I was a kid. And I remember my dad saying, the Beach Boys have turned into a bunch of hippies. And that was along this time. Surf's Up. That's such a beautiful, weird song that doesn't make any sense, but it is so beautiful. There's Dennis just like daydreaming. You can just see this. There's posters and Holland, which is, some people think Holland is just a great album, and Love You, and I'm not crazy about those albums. Holland is all right, but I'm not crazy about it. And here's when this is what revived them right here. Capitol released Endless Summer, a double album of greatest hits of theirs, and that's what put them back in the spotlight and had them selling out stadiums again. Here's a cool pic of the Beach Boys in the shape of California, their beloved home state. And here they are sitting on their albums. Love You. This is Brian Wilson's favorite album. It's my least favorite Beach Boys album. It's all synthesized, and personally, I think the songs are kind of stupid, but it's fun, and I think everybody was just happy that Brian was getting back into the action, Here's Brian, Dennis, and their mother, Audrey, and Carl. Try to get on through here. And here we go with the... moving on to the Kokomo years in the 80s. There's Brian in his pool, Carl and Dennis. Well, this is late 70s here. Here they are playing in front of 500,000 people on their July 4th concerts on the Washington Mall, at the Washington Monument. And crowds at one point got up to 750,000 people. Here is Mike Love. The Beach Boys played for President Reagan's both inaugurations, for George H.W. Bush, Vice President, then George H.W. Bush's 59th birthday party in 1983. And Mike and Bruce also played at an inaugural ball for President Trump. So I love their politics. I love that they're conservative, patriotic. Hey, man, it's America's band, so of course they're conservative and patriotic, And there's Denny with his Vista Light see-through drum kit. Great picture of him. And this is Roger McGuinn from the Byrds, Brian Wilson, and John and China Phillips from John and Michelle Phillips, China Phillips' mom from the Mamas and Papas. That's from the California Dreamin' video. And here is a picture of Mike, Al, and Bruce in a Jeep. This is in Times Square filming the Wipeout video with the Fat Boys. Here they are when they got there, were entered into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And Mike had been fasting for 3 days, went on a rant against the Rolling Stones and Beatles, who were inducted with them in 1988. And it was just crazy, and it pissed everybody off. You can see there, Brian is pissed off. Look at Carl's reaction. And Al, he just looks embarrassed, like, I don't know this fool. But anyway, here's Mike and his wife, Jacqueline. They've been married 25 years now, which is amazing, because she's like his fifth wife, I think. And anyway, there's a great picture of Brian in later years playing his Fender bass. Here's the Beach Boys playing at Super Bowl 33 with good friend Dean Torrance of Jan and Dean. Willie Nelson with Mike Love at Farm Aid. Hang on, we're almost through here. I'll just kind of doing a summary of the book. Brian Wilson and Melinda Love, his second wife, she has been so good for him. They've adopted 5 kids together. She's just awesome for him. If you want to see their story, go see the Love and Mercy movie. It's great. And here's a good picture of Carl and Bruce and Al laughing at the last tour of Carl's before he died of cancer. Mike, that's what he looks like now. Great picture of Al on the 50th anniversary tour. Brian Wilson and Elton John, the Beach Boys on their 50th anniversary tour. I was blessed to see them in Raleigh, North Carolina on this tour. And look at the stage. This stage setup was just amazing. So you've got Brian Wilson on piano, Dave Marks on lead guitar, Mike Love lead vocals, Al Jardine rhythm guitar, there's Scott Totten on lead guitar, and Bruce Johnston on keyboards. And in 2012, for their 50th anniversary, Brian produced them another album. This album, That's Why God Made the Radio, went to number 3 for them in 2012 on the album charts. Booyah. And then it gives, this is great, because I thought I'd heard everything about the Beach Boys, but there's a few tracks and solo albums and stuff on here I haven't heard yet. So this gives their whole discography, and I will be using it to listen to anything by them that I haven't heard. And the back reads, the Beach Boys captured the essence of California surfing lifestyle in their songs, topped the charts, and toured the world. In this book, Johnny Morgan looks at the writing and recording of the band's catalog and the evolution of the band and their music through the years, including albums Surfing Safari, Surfer Girl, Little Deuce Coupe, Summer Days, Pet Sounds, Smiley Smile, 2020, Holland, Endless Summer, Still Cruising, Smile, and That's Why God Made the Radio, and more. A story that's packed with genius, innovation, novelty, triumph, tragedy, harmony, surf, girls, and cars. Yes, y'all, if you love the Beach Boys, or even if you don't and you want to, I mean, their story is so interesting. This is a must read. It's just, and as you see, I got a bargain price on it last Christmas. I just now finished it 10 months later because I'm reading about 5 books consecutively, and I'm just busy, trying to build my channel and everything. But anyway, if you look, you will enjoy this book. Even if you're just a music fan at all, but especially if you're a Beach Boys fan, you will love this book. I give it a thumbs up, so please give me a thumbs up if you like my content. Like, subscribe, and share to Little Drummer Boy 1970 for similar content. I hope y'all have a blessed day. Love you. Bye.